It might work. It might work. It's just shocking how far behind YouTube is from what I'm doing and trying to monitor things and change things and see what happened and did that work and all that kind of stuff. And just to sit around going, oh, I've got to wait for like 2 minutes for it to do something. Anyway, I'm going to turn that down for a minute, although I'm really enjoying that, and that's why I'm in a bit of a fluster, because I got kind of distracted into making something up. And then, of course, I'm not ready to go live when I'm supposed to be going live. So, anyway, let me know in the comments, first of all, I suppose, if you can hear my voice. It's going to be a little bit random. Oops, I don't want to clunk it, because I'm going to be moving around, potentially, today. So let me know if you can hear the voice. That seems to be coming through over there. I probably need to be closer to it. And could you hear everything else? Also, my eyes are gone today, so I might have to do this without my glasses. I hope that's not too scary for people out there. So before I launch into a big introduction then, just let me know. I'm going to sit around and wait and see whether you can actually hear me. Bring the mic up a bit. Yeah, okay. And have it pointed towards me is always good. That looks like a healthier level over there. Is that a healthier level for you? Why don't I open a beer while I'm waiting? Although I've got Dead Pony Club again, of course, but I also have Razorback, which might be quite nice. Sounds voice good. Great. Okay, loud and clear. Great. Okay. Right. Hello, welcome to my yet another one of these live stream things. Going to have a flurry of these, I think, over the next week or so. The purpose of this evening, this isn't supposed to be a scheduled let's talk about the last Molten Music Monthly type thing. The idea with this is that my shed has got into a bit of disarray, as happens, and I need to take steps to sort that out. And I thought to myself that I'm never going to get that done unless I actually schedule the thing in. So I thought, well, if I'm scheduling something in, why don't I also make it a live stream? And so we can all share in the wonderful experience of me poking around. Now that I say it out loud, it doesn't actually sound that interesting, but who knows? I mean, I don't know. It will just be a different thing. So what I'm going to do, perhaps, is I'll give you a bit of a tour of the shed, so you can all be, all have your illusions shattered and be very disappointed in the hovel in which I play. So we can do a bit of that. Of course, we can talk about some of the NAMM stuff that's come up already, and then I want to rearrange my synths over there. So I've got all these wonderful stands, these things, these Loki stands that you might have seen about the place. All the cool kids have got these. Well, I was sent a pack to review for Sound on Sound, which is rather nice, so I can't tell you whether I like them or not, but suffice to say I'm going to be using all of them, and that's hopefully going to tidy up that space. I also have an overflow of modular, and I've bought another row case of a Moog row in order to build another 3 alongside this. So I want to just put that together if I can. I mean, that could take hours, but putting the actual case together and stuff shouldn't take too long. I don't actually have enough power supplies to run it all yet, but I just want to have it together so I can start working around that space. The idea being that if I have my Eurorack actually set up properly rather than spilling out all over the place, that I'm actually going to be able to do videos on modules I need to be doing videos on, reviews, examples, patches, all that sort of stuff. Because at the moment it's just a mess, and it's not helping me get videos out, because I've been through an extremely busy month in December, and now January is turning out to be just as busy because of more writing I have to do, and the NAMM coverage which I'm covering for Gear News. So trying to squeeze in videos has been hard, but hopefully with this evening we can put some stuff together and I'll be in a much better place to do videos once NAMM is over. The other thing we've got is a bit of a storm, so at any moment all the wires could come crashing down, or the shed could float away, or I could die under the rubble. So that's exciting. So that's what we've got going on. You're very welcome to chill, to hang out. I might leave this on, or I might not. I might talk about, I don't know, making it up. But that's what I could really do with at the moment, is a bit of a drink, and maybe we'll just have a chat just to kick ourselves off. I mean, we're already 20 minutes in. so let's do that. Let's read some comments. Let's try to wind down. And I don't know about you, but I've been quite hyper today, writing up stuff for Gear News, trying to get all the NAMM scoops. Did you see my Sequential Pro 3 scoop? God, that was a bit of a thing. That was post of the day, that one. Cool. And interesting how that evolved. I mean, I'm in touch in different places on Facebook these days where I associate with some very what's the word, knowledgeable and experienced synthesizer people, and I have to be a little bit more, not cautious isn't the word, I have to be a bit more sensible about what I'm saying. I can't just make outrageous statements without anything to back it up. I have to be a bit more measured. So things like with the Pro 3, I thought, cool, geez, that's expensive. But of course it isn't. I mean, it is if you're comparing it to a Behringer, you know, or a little mono synth, then yeah, God, geez, it's expensive. But when you compare it to a proper Minimoog or the Vostok or the ARP 2600, for heaven's sake, the Matrix Brute, you know, a properly huge, thought out, solid monosynth, then £2,000's actually not expensive. It's, no, I mean, obviously that's what I mean about being in the company of real synthesizer people. It makes me have to think a little bit more deeply about what I'm talking about, because, you know, I don't own massively expensive synths. I own lots of expensive Eurorack, but that's something which has grown and developed, and that's different to dropping £8,000 on a Moog 1, if you know what I mean. You know, it's a different sort of feel, and I find it hard to project myself into the space where I could spend £2,000-3,000 just like that on a synthesizer. I would love to be in that position. That would be fascinating. Oh, that's better. Let's dance. Yeah. Oh, that's not going to happen, I don't think. So, let's just say hello to a few people. Hello, Vicstar46, you were the first one in. Well done. Well done. Hello, Nick from Canada. Stefan Loon, nice of you to join us. Part of this evening will be probably boxing up your hydrangea, your hydrogen, your hydronium. That's the one. Ken, good to see you. Hot chocolate's fine. Fine, mate. Brain for Zombies, good. Inky, Cat Studios. Haha. Yeah, there's a lot of NAMM Lama Ding Dong. You're an hour behind. Yeah, so it's 8 o'clock over this it's area things. Hey, level 6, man, how, yes. Oh, I should be better at this by now. Oh. Anyway. Hey, yeah, good, yeah, loud and clear, good, getting back through that. Hi. Is it in a cabin? It seems like a tiny space. Well, let me do something about that. Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Yeah. I got an MS-101. That's my posh synth. That is. But I'd love to be that other person. But yeah, all my pennies goes into the Eurorack, so I have nothing to complain about, nothing at all. Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my other camera, because what happened, right? I accidentally upgraded my computer with a quad capture card, which is very exciting. And then I was massively disappointed to find out that my Canon ER70D, which I do all of my filming on, can't output any decent sort of resolution. It manages 720. That's it. Which is probably what this is, because the way that I capture my Canon is I go via a desktop application for a live shoot, and then the vMix software that I use for live streaming is capturing the image that's on the desktop, which seems like a backwards way of doing things. So I thought, I know, I'll just plug it straight into a capture card. And I did it, and the quality was awful. I thought, this is supposed to be a posh camera. Right, so then I use this one, which is my overhead camera that I use from time to time, which is an old HD camcorder. It's just a Lumix camcorder, and that looks absolutely stunning. The difference, though, is that the lens on the Canon is so much better and gives a much better overall picture, particularly when I'm making videos into the camera. and the settings are so much better, whereas on the Lumix the colour tends to go weird, can't get the white balance ever right, and the lens on it is just nowhere near so good. But the picture quality is great, so maybe I'll take that and a light and I'll give you a quick tour of what's going on. What? Oh, someone asked me just a really hard question. Hang on. Fish dog, yeah, right. What's the difference between a Rompler and a wavetable synth? 202, whatever that is, going to get Rompler with FPGA chips and 90s technology polished up. More drink, I think. What a Rompler, I guess, is a sample-based virtual instrument that you run on your computer, whereas wavetables are individual waveforms that you use as the source of sound, and you can change that wave shape. They are ultimately based on samples, but only one cycle of a sample, as opposed to Romplers, which are based on entire multi-instruments of things. Yeah? If you're talking about a wavetable virtual instrument versus a wavetable hardware synth, then the differences are smaller. But the difference you're going to get is the hardware hands-on control of that wavetable, and potentially the quality of the circuitry, or the interesting analogliness of the circuitry and the filtering and those sorts of bits and pieces going on. That's probably much it, I suspect. So yeah, anyway, what was I doing? Because conversation is never going to work in that respect. So let me grab the camera. So I've got a special app here that if I can keep it alive, I should just be able to go boom. Oh no. See, but every time I do that, it turns on the audio. Hang on. Got to sort that out. Go over here, this one. Audio settings. This one again. This one mixer. Is that global? Turn that off for that one. Close. One. Okay. Let me try that again. Is that okay? Hey Bo, no, I'm not in the NAMM club. Well, no, I'm seriously in the NAMM club in as much as I'm covering the NAMM coverage with a huge blanket of gear newsness. That's all I'm doing. I mean, I'm living and breathing now. It's just that I'm not physically there. I feel like I'm virtually there, although with none of the voice strain and headaches, fever, jet lag, that kind of thing. Which I don't mind. I don't miss that, having been to NAMM for several years in a row back in the noughties. I don't really. It's a big, horrible, noisy show. Not horrible. It's interesting. Meet all sorts of interesting people. But it's hard on your throat, even more than Super Booth, because you're there for like 4 or 5 days. And it's exhausting. And the noise. But anyway, we love it really. So yeah, let's have a look around. The shed, is that... Oh yeah, see, I'm talking to camera, and I'm not even on it. So, what can I do? Let me... Right, so... So here is the workbench that I am attempting. See, how are you going to hear me? Are you going to? I don't know. I'm just going to have to go for it. So here is the workbench, which is on which all my synthesis sort of stuff appears. So that's the DIY corner over there. Maybe I'm going to need to shout. I don't know. Let me step back. See, I knew this was never going to work. Okay. So I've got, maybe I'll hold the mic. No, I don't know. So over there is the DIY corner. As you can see, it's got the main board of the Descartes Dream sitting up there, half built, ready for a little bit more action soon. This is the pair of Behringer cases I've got with modules sat in them at the moment that I'm going to hopefully this evening also expand into 3 rows and get all that sorted out. That's one task for this evening. Although the feel of it at the moment, I might just sit around and chat. I don't know. So that's that side of my workbench. Then along here I have a pair of redundant speakers and a load of old crap hanging up on a big shelf, like hard drives with stuff on from 20 years ago, that kind of thing, you know the stuff. And then down this end is where all my synths are going to go. So synths are all going to be down there. The Euro rack will be here somewhere in the middle, hopefully with space enough for me to do videos where the beer is. And then over there is DIY Central. And this bit here is kind of the bit that spills out over things out of every single bit. Now, the rest of the place, turn my light around, I'll get myself caught up, is I've got a lovely rug, which I'm very pleased with. And then over here, that's the door. There's my collection of kung fu weapons and grading information. There's a tambourine and a guitar on the wall. That's very nice. Over there is the shelving of doom onto which everything ends up, eventually discarded and unloved. And all sorts of packing materials, cardboard boxes and all the other crap that's there. I've still got half my ceiling to put up because I don't know if you've noticed, but I've got these wonderful ceiling panels up here which are made from woolen cement or something, I don't know. But anyway, they're super nice and they're super absorbent. They keep me warm as well as sound insulated to some degree. But I haven't quite finished it off, as you can see, and down that end I've still got this old hardboard. Because in order to do the ceiling at that end, I'm going to have to get in to the shelves of doom, which is not a happy space. Not a happy space. And then, if I unwind myself, over in this corner is where I actually do my work. On my nice big fat computer over there, which I happen to have a little Korg, micro-Korg thing sitting next to, which is nice. So there you go. That's the space. I mean, it's good. It's 3 meters wide, 6 meters deep, I think, or other such things. And hopefully in a minute this is going to look like a gorgeous exhibition space of synthesizers and loveliness. Or something. What's that cable from? Right, so that's that. I'm just going to make sure the picture comes back in the right place. Hey Tom, good to join you. Fresh. Well, you should be there, shouldn't you, by now? Stuck in some hotel room, probably, trying to find rude things on the television. Sounds like I'm in a sewer pipe. I mean, everything has to go through this microphone, right? Sort of sitting in the middle. I don't know another way of doing that other than using a mic on the camera, but that's probably going to be disastrous in one way or another. Oh, I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. How have I heat insulated the shed? I haven't really. I mean, ideally you should build in a second skin and that kind of thing. I haven't. It's just single skin, quite thick wood, and it gets cold. I sit right next to a heater that's churning through electricity like crazy all the time. I don't know. Had I thought about it, I mean, we built this like 12 years ago, had this built. as a workshop, because when I was building computers, that was the idea. And it didn't really occur to me to put any kind of insulation in, because it's a shed, isn't it? You're working in a shed. And it wasn't until the first winter that I realised, oh yeah, that would be a really good idea, which is when I started doing things to the ceiling, getting that sorted out. So the ceiling is quite well insulated. I've got a nice thick block of some kind of insulation up there, and these new wall cement panels, which add to that greatly. And it is absolutely warmer in here than it was last winter, that's for sure. But yeah, no, the insulation is rubbish. But there we go, there we are. You have to do what you have to do. The beer today is Razorback from Ringwood Brewery. It's a craft ale, apparently. I don't know. I got it for Christmas. That's all I can tell you. Tom, you're on Long Beach. Good Lord. I remember, right, one NAMM. I just finished. The whole lot had just finished, and I was on my way home. Got in a cab, headed to the airport. Realised I was there about 8 hours too early. So I thought, right, where can I go? So I went to. God damn it, where did I go? Where's the cool place? There's got a pier. It's not Malibu Beach. I can't think. So where's a beach near LA? I have to Google it. Beach near LA. Santa Monica. There we go. So anyway, so I checked in my bags and I got in a cab. I was by myself, everybody else had gone home. I got a cab to Santa Monica because I had no idea what that was. I just knew the name of it. It sort of sounded nice. It was a lovely day. It was getting towards sort of dusk time. Sun was going down. I wandered up the pier. There was jazz musicians playing. There was stuff going on, street entertainment. The sun was going down on the water. It was beautiful. So we don't get... where I am in Norfolk, we get sunrise on the water. We get dawn at water because of we're facing east, whereas out there you're facing west and the sun's going down. It was beautiful, and I sat there on the end of the pier thinking, well, this is just awesome. And then my mobile phone went off, and we had mobile phones in these days. This was quite a while ago, but I had a flip one, Motorola flip one, and I answered the phone. It was my ex-girlfriend. Asking me something completely trivial, and so I kept her on the phone for about half an hour. And it would have cost her an absolute fortune, and I just sat there giggling to myself. Such a meanie. But it was nice. It was one of those moments when you know, when she says, so yeah, how you doing, where are you? I go, all right, I'm just chilling out listening to a jazz band on Santa Monica Pier. At which point the phone went dead. But yeah, nice. So that's one of my lasting and perhaps my last recollections of NAMM. Other ones involved terrible parties, rolling cigarettes for the guy from Primus, guitarist, and hanging out with Saxon at some weird gig. And my boss would fall asleep at things. He was terrible at jet lag, that kind of stuff. And so I remember one year we left him in a restaurant. Another time we left him watching Herbie Hancock because, oh wow, man, that was a weird Herbie Hancock gig because I mean, he's awesome and everything. It's just we didn't know any of his songs except for Rocket, of course, because, you know, being idiots. I was young, all right, and so we sat through this kind of stuff and then went outside and ran into all these interesting famous people having cigarettes outside, which was one of the things that you had to do it now. You had to smoke because that's where all the interesting networking and conversations happened. You know, once I'd given up smoking, NAMM was nowhere near as fun because you just stay on the stand the whole time. Whereas you want to be nipping out every half an hour to hang out with the cool kids, rolling stuff up. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so blah-de-blah. So, yeah, NAMM at the moment then, what's interesting? Well, the Pro 3 is very interesting. That was a mistake from Gear for Music, who stuck up their Pro 3 page accidentally. It was there for about 5 minutes. Somebody sent me the link. I went to the page and went, ooh, I had no idea it was a leak. I assumed it was just a thing. So I went to the Sequential website going, oh, there's nothing on there yet. But that's not unusual for these sorts of releases. And so I went back to the site, took off one of the images, started writing the opening paragraph, and then clicked on an image in order to make that bigger, because I wanted a larger version of the image. And the whole lot no longer existed. I hit back on my browser, none of it existed. They pulled the page. So I managed to get, like, I got the fact that there were two analog oscillators and one digital oscillator. That's about the only information that I had. And so I had to run with that. But I had an image. I had one image. And I knew that it was monophonic with paraphonic articulation. So that's all I had to go on. But that's been a huge post today, obviously. And I mean, Gear for Music did get in touch and say, would you mind taking it down? Which I can't really. Once something's out, it's out, you know. But I did feel for Sequential, because they've obviously got a big release planned and they want to keep it under wraps. But you know, a leak is a leak, and it's a mistake, and it's unfortunate, and it's embarrassing, but someone's going to pick it up, and it might as well be Gear News, because ultimately we're after eyeballs and views, but also getting interesting news out there. You know, it's a two-way street. So I mean, my advice to any manufacturer out there who doesn't want to leak anything, rather, don't tell the shops. Don't tell the shops. Don't send all your stuff on embargoes to shops. It's never going to work out, because even after Gear for Music pulled it, other shops put it up, like Z Sounds. They don't care. They'll stick it up. Sweetwater, they don't care. They'll have it up. So if you don't want to leak, don't give it to the shops. I mean, does it matter if it's not available for sale or pre-order on the day you announce it? Really? Does that matter? I don't think so. We'll wait a day. Not a problem. So, you know, I think manufacturers, they just need to think about it a little bit more, be a little bit less hasty, and those leaks won't happen. Unless you want them to, of course, that's the other thing. Great English pubs in Santa Monica, yeah? Yeah, I did see the new qubit modules. There wasn't a whole lot to go on. I mean, they're very qubit, aren't they? Very ordered, very straight, very futuristic, nice lines, that kind of thing, and absolutely no clue as to what any of them do. That's the qubit style. It usually takes about 9 months for someone to tease out what any of them are all about. That's what I find. And they don't tend to give them out much either for people to play with. Yeah, it is up on their site now. Yeah, they kind of gave in, I think, because of all the leakage. There's an awful lot of stuff that's come out. I mean, we're not even there yet. I mean, it's only Tuesday. It's not supposed to open till Thursday, and yet we have masses and masses of stuff. We've been writing all day articles. So, I mean, there's a lot of detail missing. Don't have a lot of videos on some gear. But gee whiz, I mean, let me just have a quick run through before we sort of move on to the things I'm supposed to be doing this evening, which, if you've just joined us, this is an ad hoc kind of studio hangout type chat, no real agenda other than I'm supposed to be organising my stuff. I'm supposed to be organising my Eurorack and my synths. That was the plan for this evening, although that seems to be going out the window a little bit at the moment. I don't know. I don't know how interesting that's going to be. Maybe this is more interesting. Who knows? But I do have another plan to do another live stream on Sunday night after NAMM, so we can have a proper talk about it. Does that matter? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. So what have we seen today then? There has been, we had the new modal stuff. Cool, yeah, the Argonate. There's a wider one with everything a little bit over to the left, so you always can be playing like this. And they've done a desktop one, which is quite cute for people who like that sort of thing. So yeah, Argonate seems to be you know, ploughing its course, staying its thing, expanding a little bit, being true to itself, and I hope it does really well because I like the modal guys, and you know, it's priced, seem to be priced right. It'll be interesting to see how well that's received, I think. Oh, you know what I didn't write about? I forgot to write about the wind control harmonica. The MIDI control wind controller harmonica thing. Okay, note to self, got to sort that out. Pittsburgh Modular have got this cascading analog delay, which for me personally is a little bit frustrating. Let me tell you why. Sorry, just checking something. I was talking about my mind. Because I've got the wonderful Lifeforms voltage lab here, but mine's broken, which is very sad. It no longer has an analog delay. The analog delay is broken. It's fried. It's fuzzed or something. The rest of it works fine, as far as I know. Of course, as far as I know, it's still a bit mystical to me at the moment. But last live stream, I was playing with it. I had analog delay going on because it's a really nice analog delay. That was happening, and then about halfway through, it seemed to disappear, and I then couldn't find it. And then I came back to you later and realised it's just broken. It's just not working. And so I've got to send the thing back all the way to Pittsburgh, which is really sad. So that's one of the things I was going to do this evening, is pull that out and stick it in its box. You know, I'm just trying to get things done. So yeah, for them to release, well, first of all, the analog delay unit the other week, and then this cascading delay network is like rubbing my face in it. Well, no, not really. It's nobody's fault. It's just one of those things that's going to be a massive drag as it has to go halfway around the world in order to get fixed. But there we go. Behringer with their 606 clone. 606, I reckon. Oh yes, there were lots of discussion about it being the RD9. It would be the RD9 if the image in the video had a dirty great big button between the top number and the bottom number. The only drum machine that has the numbers in that style is the 606. So it has to be a Dramatics, is what the Behringer are about to release. So that's exciting. Oh yes, the Zoya, which is the cool cats. The coolest people in the world like the Zoya. I don't really understand what it is. It seems to be a pedal. It's got a modular thing inside it, effects and stuff. Do you make sounds with it? I don't know. Do you put I don't know. Do you put it on the floor? Anyway, there's a Eurorack version of that, and everyone's very, very excited about it. To me, it looks like putting a whole load of stuff into a module, which is just not my bag. Although, of course, I'd be interested to try it out and give it a go and find more about it. I just like modules to be modules. It's just the thing I have. And so having something with so much stuff in it, I don't know that appeals to me. It certainly appeals to lots of people. That whole thing, I get it, I do. And it is achingly cool. I mean, Cuckoo had one, I think. Didn't he bring one along to the Toman thing? I might have done. Well, he was always playing with something anyway. Korg MS-20 FS, full-sized, which reflects back to the ARP 2600, full-sized. Am I interested in MS-20? Well, I've had a play in one a few times before, and they are gnarly, nasty, aggressive machines. Yeah, cool. I mean, it's going to have a whole patching system that I don't necessarily understand because it's not Eurorack, it's something else. Not that I won't understand it, but it's using sort of different voltages and hertz per octave and that kind of thing. But that doesn't scare me. I can deal with that, I think. They also have released a keytar, which I don't know. I don't really. I saw the appeal when I was 17. I think I used to play a DX100, right? I had a DX100. I would play that round my neck on a guitar strap, fingers on the mod wheel. You know, I did that live, man. I even had the DX100 round my neck with that, with the Yamaha breath controller stuffed in my face, dribbling out the top. Oh man, I was on fire. What else we got? 4MS ensemble oscillator, 16 sine waves stuffed into a module that makes lots of voices, I think. A game changer are there with an optical spring reverb pedal. I think it's a pedal. What happened? What happened to the motor synth? What has happened to the motor synth? That's what we need to find out. What has happened to that thing? Arturia, of course, have launched their KeyStep Pro. Very interesting. It expands on the BeatStep Pro. If you're familiar with the BeatStep Pro, it's that sequencer that everybody, again, all the cool kids use with their Euro rack. I had one. It was one of the first things I bought to go with my modular, and I didn't get on with it. Didn't get on with it at all. For some reason, I kind of like a knob sequencer. I just do. Whereas I found it felt like I was working with a computer. It just felt like the sort of workflow you get with a DAW. You know, I'm doing everything on purpose as opposed to just finding stuff. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, the KeyStep Pro kind of doubles it up. So rather than it didn't have the original, the BeatStep Pro, I think it's got 2 sequencer channels and 1 drum channel. This has got 4 sequencer channels, one of which can be a drum channel if you wish. So you can run 4 separate independent sequences into things. And of course it has a built-in keyboard. I mean, that's nice also for that sort of thing. So yeah, great. I think it's what people have been asking for. It's going to do the job. Bastor and Casper with their Waver. I mean, Casper Electronics just produces fantastically, deliciously dirty, nasty modules. And I love it when Bastor and Casper get together because it's always going to be something exciting. And it is. It is, most certainly. Twisted Electrons with a Mega FM. It looks interesting. They're not at NAMM, I don't think. So this is kind of releasing somewhere in the noise of NAMM, which I never think is a good idea, but maybe that works. I don't know. But it's essentially 2 Yamaha FM chips stuck in a box to give you 8 voices of FM with all the parameters out on the box. Lovely. Then Behringer are also teasing a Moog 921 oscillator. They've already shown us some of their Moog stuff when they did their video on their Eurorack case. There was a few of those modules there. There wasn't an oscillator though, whereas now they're going to tease on what looks very much like the front panel to the Moog 921. So that's probably going to be their Eurorack modular oscillator, which is interesting. I mean, I think their Moog clone modular stuff is looking excellent. Probably sounds excellent too. Probably brilliantly priced. And personally, I think looks more interesting than the System 100 stuff they were going to do. So I'm happy for them to do something like this, which is only available in a massive format, and there's plenty of other companies who have cloned these things already. So yeah, I think that's it's going to look good. It actually looks nice, which is good. Qubit, mentioned before, Noise Engineering has got 3 modules out, which of course don't make any sense, but they seem to be developing a DSP platform that they're basing a few of their modules on now, so you can upgrade the firmware and change what it does. Interesting. So I'd like to hear more about that. So that's my that's currently what's going on, I think. Let me just have a wazzle through your comments before I decide what to do next. Yeah, no, I said all that already. I said all that. Oh, excuse me. No, I'm not Nick Bat. I have more hair and a better taste in shirts. Oh, Nick's lovely. I love Nick. He's fantastic. Does Berenger have his own ideas, or do they just copy stuff from others? Well, bit of this, bit of that. I think he's cottoned onto something that, you know, there's a massive desire, massive market for old vintage synths, and he's happy to fill that. Why not? I mean, it's going to ultimately be easier to make and manufacture something that already exists rather than having to come up with something from scratch. So why not do that? I mean, he's a businessman, isn't he? He's a businessman, and he's a synth enthusiast, and so likes old stuff as well. And they're creating a museum for him to sit in and to play with all this old stuff. You know, that's fun. That's fun. Spandex pants and tank top. Tank top, maybe. I wasn't sure about the pants. I was into very sort of baggy, pleated chinos, I would imagine, or snow wash jeans with the bottoms rolled up. Yeah. Whoa! Sorry, the wind is shaking my my bones over here. Did they announce the Matrix Poly? Who announced the Matrix Poly? What, Arturia? A Matrix Poly? No, I haven't heard of that. I have heard of that, I have to say. Is it Sunday? No, it's not. This is impromptu, kinda. So, all right. So we can sit here and chat. Of course we can. But what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to turn this modular back on, try and sort out my desk a little bit, and then I'll talk about my synths as I put them together in a bunch of stands over there, assuming that the microphone's going to work all right. But you just have to keep me updated as to whether it's too low, that kind of thing. Is that all right for you? We know how to get magic arms to actually stay. That would be awesome. See what I mean about the colour? I wonder if I can do something about that. No is probably the answer. Right, so via my horribly blue, this blue picture here. I don't know. So this is my bench. I'm not talking to my microphone. Right, okay. This needs to be over here. What I need is I need a film crew. I need a film crew. Right. Alright. So I need to do something this evening. As much as I would love to just sit and chat, which is great. I thank you so much for coming along. I mean, we had like 116 people at one point. That was nuts. We don't usually get that on a Sunday night. So what is everybody doing? I guess it's a Tuesday. Maybe Tuesdays are good. Who knows? Anyway, so I'm now going to attempt to rearrange this space. I will talk while I do so about the stuff and what I'm planning on doing. And to do that, I'm going to have to not kind of interact with the chat so much. And so therefore, you're welcome to stay and watch. I don't know how interesting that's going to be. But that's what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to assume that everyone is fascinated. Right, what time is it? Shit, it's 9 o'clock. Right, let's get something done. So, right, these stands, right, from Loki. Fascinating things. Look at that. They're made of wood, right, with all these slots. I mean, the interesting thing about them is that they're kind of a bit in your face, because they're not like with black stands. Because the black stands, your metal tubular stands, they kind of disappear. They fade away into the background, and that's not really what's happening with these. They're kind of there, and you notice that they're there. I'll put something on this one, like so. You've got all these bits sticking out, and it's not smooth. It's got chunks taken out of it. So you kind of have to embrace the idea of it, that it's going to be present in your setup. But it's also quite fascinating. Now, I've got to work out, what was I had a plan, okay? I had a plan, but first I think, put that one on that one. First, I just need to clear this space. Need to clear this space so that I know what the heck I'm doing. Get rid of that. That's just packaging. I've got lots of spares as well, which means I could end up redoing them. But that kind of counts or depends on me not losing all this stuff. So I've got. Go with spiders. Cut those. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Why have I got 5? See, that's typical. It means I've lost one somewhere. So I've got 5. No, I used one there. Yeah, no, that's the reason. Okay, so can they live up there without falling off, do I think? Maybe. Let's go with that for now. Cool. So, little synths. This is the hydronium, which has been very generously loaned to me by Steph. It's brilliant. I've had a lot of fun with this. I've now got to find the box, so I've got to send it back. Oh, I got spider poo on it. I am sorry about that. Spiders in here, they'll poo anywhere. So, yeah, I'll give that a clean up, and I will not lose the power supply. And I'll find its box, which should be... I'm a stickler for keeping boxes, so if it came in a box, I will have it. Now, did it come with any more of a power supply than that? Because I've put it in a... Did it come with that bit? Is this bit yours? So I had it plugged into something that didn't work very well. Not entirely sure where that came from. Yeah. So let's put that together in some kind of way. But the rare wave stuff is all generally excellent. It's kind of a little bit different. I mean, the hydronium is very much a 303 kind of vibe to it. But they do, I mean, it's very sort of boutique. It's left of centre a bit. It's not in the mainstream. But there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. Need to find a box of that. Definitely had a box. Definitely had a box of some kind. I think. Okay, put it to one side. Couple of Unos. The glasses out of the way. See, what I've been using up to now are these jam stands. I've got a couple of 3 of these, I think, which I found terribly useful because they would sit under your keyboard. The keyboard would sit here, and you allow you to put something else on top, anything else on top, laptop, you know, your Surface, another synth or something. Very useful. And that's something that this doesn't do quite so well because you've always taken up this desktop space. There's nothing which kind of throws something over the top of something which is flat on the desktop. There's always an angle going on, which is interesting. I mean, on the other hand, it lifts everything up at you, which is also interesting. So, you know, pros and cons of these things, pros and cons. Oop. I'm going to put that out of the way for now. Power supply for the mixer. I did start labelling power supplies, which is a really good idea, but I don't quite do it religiously enough. So I've got one here, I don't know what it is. What do I think it might be? I don't know. I do not know. I have to go through a bit of a process of elimination. I will cable tie it for now. Oh look, I've written Base Station 2 on the side. Did you know I have a Base Station 2? It's hidden away somewhere, and I don't know why that is either. I kind of fell out of favour with it. It's like it's the synth I've had the longest. But funny enough, I had it at a time that my head wasn't back into synths yet. I was still very much computer based, and I essentially used it as a MIDI controller. So I've never really gotten into the depth of the Base Station 2, well, other than to play with the filter and the modulation as you usually do. But I've certainly used it a lot. Whereas now it doesn't feel that it has a place within this other ecosystem I've got going, which is weird because it should do. Strange that. Anyway, so that's the base station. Let me keep that to one side. I've got a horrible network cable. What do I do with that? don't need that anymore. Maybe I can just fall. Maybe I'll just let that fall down. Box of crap. Now this is beautiful. See, this is a certificate. It's awarded to Daddy for being a good daddy and a good cook. That's from my daughter Nancy May. So that's got to go somewhere. Go there for now. Bunch of screws, no reason. Okay, so let's get through more power supplies. This here, a USB power thing, is awesomely useful for things like Uno synths, because they don't come with power supplies and they run out of batteries really quick. So that's a useful thing. Comes with a less useful weird adapter. I'll plug this in again in a minute. So I will need that. This is the Microfreak, which has a terribly annoying power supply, in that it comes with, like, you know, it comes with this, which is goes halfway, and then you've got to put a plug into it, and I didn't have the right plug for it, so I've got, I don't know. Things we get to moan about. I'm going to have to work out a way of plugging all these things in a little bit more elegantly. But hopefully, with all up on these stands, it's going to hide a lot of crap. Now this one, I'm not sure what that one is. I thought it's a European one. Don't know what that's for. I thought this was the one. I thought this was the hydronium, but it's not. What's that? No, can't remember. It's going to have to go in there. That's a cable. One of those. It's a counterweight. Right. Cool. This is one of my many surface power supplies. Down away for a minute. Okay, this here goes into there, comes back out again, goes back up around there. Okay, I know what that is. I can go out of the way. This is a surface. Am I not plugged in over there? No, I'm not. Look at that. Okay. So this needs to come through. Ah! All the way around. Plug into there. Nice. This is my pedal supply, which is super useful. It doesn't need to be here right now. This one is... Damn it, it doesn't say. I really should be labelling these. Well, we're going to find out, so I'm going to plug a load of stuff in. Oh yeah, something's going to be the RD8, one of them's going to be the MS1 one is here, that's that one. I can leave that plugged in. And this one is for my little Zoom recorder. Take that out for now. Which has revolutionised the microphone quality of my videos, which is nice. Ah! Spiders. So the plan is to use a couple of these. I might take that out of there because it could be a useful. No, I don't know that it is a useful thing. One of the accessories is this internal shelf, which can also be mounted as kind of wings on the side. And I can't quite work out exactly what you'd put in there. Something that you don't really need to access, but you sort of do need to access. So, how am I going to do? So, what am I doing? So, I have this power supply, which is something else in a way. Let's get rid of that. I've got that, which I know is NAMM 101. Good. Let's unplug that, which is microfreak. So here's the plan. See, I don't actually have enough. Of course I don't have enough. So on this one here, we are going to fit just about an NAMM 101. It doesn't quite fit because it's just over the edge. But the way that these catches work and this works, it just somehow manages to work. I don't know, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does not. Maybe I need to go up one more. Because what I want to try to do is get that to go. I mean, isn't that amazing? Isn't that just awesome? Where am I going to... It's such a huge thing. And then over here, and I have a little tower of Unos. That's quite nice. And then I've got a little one for the microfreak. What I could have, because I need to spend time with Sculpt. Like that, that's pretty good. I mean, that's quite impressive looking. Let me switch over to the other camera a sec. I mean, that's pretty yum. I think, honestly, I'm going to have to swap the whole thing around. In fact, why don't I do that? Otherwise, I'm never going to do it. I think... these. Yeah. I've just got to make the whole thing give me enough room. That's the thing. And this is so dominating that maybe it's the wrong thing to have. It's nice though. So maybe what I'm going to need to do is probably buy another one in order to have that fit properly. Yeah, maybe. But the other thing I can do is put in a little mixer, maybe around the back, in order to take everything, so not having to constantly wire it and unwire it. So that's a nice idea too. Why don't I do that? Why don't I do that? Oh, it's not sitting quite right. This bit. That's better. Right, I've now lost the annoying micro freak power supply. What did I do with that? Isn't it plugged in? In which case, where did I put it? Did I drop it somewhere? Oh yeah. Nearly. Alright, I'll just stick some more music on. Cool, well that was something. That was helpful. Not completely happy with it yet. I'm not sure what would make it work exactly. It's so great to have everything off the table. For that there's no doubt. So everything just gets lost amongst a bunch of wires and a bunch of bits and pieces. So yeah, I might just have to buy a couple more extensions to the stands just to get everything completely sorted. Interesting. Cathartic maybe. So it's 9:30. Whew. Right. So how are you all doing out there? Have you all cleared off? Well no, we've lost a few, of course. But everybody else, I hope you're having a nice time talking to one another. Let me have a quick scan through the comments to see if anybody said anything of worth. Yeah, I love the concept that everything is plugged in, ready to go, and that happens from time to time. Just referring to Ian's comment about his studio all being sorted out now. Oh, my hair's everywhere. And I've had that to some degree at different times, and then it loses control again. Particularly, I mean, the problem that I have, as many, I imagine, gear reviewers like myself have, is that you're constantly swapping stuff in and out. Nothing can stay permanent very long. It's like with my audio fuse, right, which I use a lot just for routing audio to the other side of the shed. I've had to nail it to the wall because it kept getting lost. You see how it's up on there? And scrapping around trying to find it and then redoing the settings, things like that. So I thought, sod it, I'm just going to nail it to the wall so I know where it is. I can always reach the volume knob and I can plug things into it. So much easier that way, having something up and plugged in. But everything else just descends into chaos when I've got to take modules out. I've got to put some other module in order to do a demonstration of it or to do a review of it. And then other things get left about and it just deteriorates. So my plan is to have another case, although that's never going to be enough. I already know it's not going to be enough. But I've got to do something. Got to start somewhere. And try to have it a bit more permanently on so that I can just sit down and try stuff out, sit down and enjoy it, sit down and do a review without too much of a fuss. That's all you can hope for, really, isn't it? Because you've got to be able to sit down and enjoy these things. I mean, I've just spent a lot of time with the Microfreak just recently for reasons I can't explain, and it's most enjoyable just to sit down and play with a thing for a bit, because I have stabbed into it from time to time and then gone away and then stabbed in it again, but usually for some specific purpose as opposed to just sitting and playing. And I've had a lot of fun doing that today, in fact. So that's very cool, and that's what I want to be able to do. Similarly, I've had the 101 and the RD8 set up quite often and just been able to sit down and play with those. I mean, I never really get beyond doing just a live pattern on the RD8. I've not gone as far as changing patterns or making a song. I just turn some stuff on, turn it off, you know, make a beat and then do something on the MS-101 along with it, and that's endless hours of fun. But it has to be plugged in to do it. If you spend half an hour trying to get the sound out, you're just not going to have fun. Fun is not going to happen in that time. I mean, that's the same feeling you get when you think, I know, I'm going to play with some awesome software synth, and so you you start up Studio One, it goes, oh, it needs an update, and you go, okay, I better do that, and then it comes down, and then that doesn't work, and then you've forgotten your iLocks on the other side of the room, and that's not plugged in, and so your plug-in spanner out, and then that goes off, and then it's like, you go down some rabbit hole of trying to update another piece of software, and by the time you actually get to the point of playing the thing you wanted to play, you've kind of lost interest, lost that moment. And that can happen in hardware if you don't have the buggers plugged in. So that's a plan. That's definitely a plan. What am I thinking? I'm thinking about hardware sequencers now. I'm thinking about how having this stuff, how do I pull it together? How do I turn it into something I can just start something off and then bring more stuff in and bring more stuff in? Maybe it just all needs to be sunked together. Don't know. Anyway, yes. Polyphonic synth for £500 or less. Think of the Argonate. Yeah, there you go. Argonate. It might just be a shade over £500, but not too far, I don't think. Or the Minilog XD. Yeah, that would be the other alternative. Definitely. Poly D. Am I allowed to say that? My system is on modular grid, not in the way that you see it here, but I have created a rack that's huge that I've just put everything in that I have, and that's on there. I think my username is RobinV00. If you search for that, you should find it on there. It's depressingly big. It's embarrassingly big. It is a problem. I've got a problem. And I'm outputting from, everything goes to the mute on, ultimately, to turn things on and off, and then from there into a Rosie. And a Rosie has a send, going to an Erica Synths DSP reverb, and that's where everything is. And just to talk you through the patch, I have everything going through the I don't even know how to pronounce it. The Instruo filter, right? I've got 3 sources. I've got a Bafako oscillator. Doing that. I've got an STO oscillator. Just making one noise. And I've got the Casatronics VCO 340. And I've mixed them all together through this lovely filter. And I'm stuffing the whole lot through the magneto. which I don't fully understand. That's simply lovely. Hey, Accurate Beats, man. Good to see you. Hope you're doing all right. Long time no see. For the ARP 2600, my understanding is that Toman got 400 units, or is getting 400 units, and other shops must be doing the same. I think it could be, you know, split 400 stateside and Europe. I don't know though, I think that's what I heard. And so there are, at least I thought, they were still taking pre-orders this time. No, I'm pretty sure the destroying is coming from the filter. And I think that's rather nice. Right, so my next task is to put together the other rows of Eurorack. So I'm going to leave this running for now. I'll do a bit of that. And thanks for hanging out with me. Feel free to continue to do so, and I'll see where we get to. A little bit more room for myself. I think somebody went off with the pack of screws because that box had been opened previously. That's slightly frustrating, but let's not dwell on it. That moment when you pick up a bag of screws and you can't remember for the life of me what they're for. They're not for the label, that's for sure. Oh my goodness. See, because the thing is, that I'm going to be able to sit here feeling like a proper studio guy, because look, I've got all this modular behind me. I mean, I've had that for a while. I've had, you know, this little thing here, but it is quite a little thing, really. Whereas now look at that. I don't know, it doesn't look as good on camera as I thought it might. Interesting. Well, there you go. It's too far this way. This is the only thing. I need to have space here in the middle where I can demonstrate individual things. So this all needs to shift. Needs to shift over there. Have I got the room for that? I don't know. Let's give it a go. Maybe it's time to rethink the whole thing. So Got a bit of a... This doesn't sit very flat. Maybe it needs to sit above it. Don't know that that would work. I mean, I could sit it up at an angle. No, that would be nuts. Or I could build something that just goes straight up, another 3 rows. I don't know, I'm going to have to live with it for a bit, I think. Going to have to live with it, see how it feels. It's going to be a question of whether I've got enough room over here to do my usual demos and bits and pieces. Maybe I have to take up a bit more of my DIY space. Oh my goodness! My goodness. But anyway, what I've got is... No, that's not it. Well, what I do have is I've got from Bufacco here, along with some of those nice red thingies I'm going to have to put on things. I've got in here power supply kits so that I can put a skiff power supply, that's what it's called, one of those in here. Because I use the 4MS Row 40s over here, which have been great because you can DC connect them. So you can connect one to the other and only have to run in a single power supply, which is awesome. Otherwise you've got 3 power supplies going into this thing, which is ridiculous. Now the Bufacco ones are based on the 4MS ones. So I can do the same thing here, but the Bufacco ones are actually slightly more interesting. Now I've got a built one because I ordered 2, or rather I sort of persuaded Bufacco to give me a couple. So I'm going to do a nice video on building one of those soon. But I also ordered one that was already made. Oh, I love my flying bus cables. So that's that can go over there. Which is this fella here. Oh, it's kind of encased in plastic. So this is interesting, this power supply. Oh, to get some light on things. Because not only does it have the same DC link as the 4MS, so I can link up a few of them in here, but it has a USB socket that you can use for charging or running a light like that. Plus, it's got a 9-volt output for running pedals. So extremely useful, super useful. That is super useful. And I can plug in a couple of these in here, I think, like that. Have I got enough of these? Probably too many of these, I should think. Like so. That's far too too many things on a ribbon cable. Maybe I don't need both of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 should be enough, shouldn't it? Get rid of one of these. Ooh! Cool, right. Well, look, I can put that to go over there, definitely. Bloom is something I want to try out. I'm sure I want that in anyway. Got a plan for that. Stereo delay I want to do. This is very important to have in. The bloom there. Because what I actually want to transfer across is my wonderful Tesseract mixer solution. So this needs to go on the bottom somewhere. I don't want to put things up there, they're just going to fall out. You know what, this is going to be too tricky to do right now. I need to give it a lot more thought. And it's getting too late and I've had too much beer, really. So I think we probably need to bring this to some kind of conclusion at this point. Oh, right, so... Well, there we go. I mean, thank you for hanging out with me this evening. It's been a slightly different one. I wasn't sure that it was going to work. It didn't completely work, but I did get some stuff done. And I had a nice chat with some nice people, which was nice. I've made steps towards trying to sort this out. And as ever, I'm not entirely sure that's worked. Oh, golly. But the intention is there, definitely. Maybe you need to come up with some kind of plan. That's probably it. As opposed to just like making it up as I go. But I am particularly good at making it up as I go. Suddenly alright so far, and I'm nearly 50. Nearly flipping 50. Right, so let me have a quick whiz through these last comments to see if anybody said anything interesting. Oh, I can't read that. Hey people, I mean, thanks for dropping in. There's still 75 people knocking around. What on earth are you doing? Oh, MIDI 2.0, that's something to talk about after NAMM, I think. Whether anything about that has ever happened, if anybody cares. Does that have anything to do with anybody? Is anybody actually looking forward to having devices which have MIDI 2.0 in them? What does that look like? What will it actually appear as? That's what interests me. Jay, you got excited by the Pro 3? You're welcome. That was all my fault. That was all my fault. Maybe remove the shelf. What shelf? The one directly above it? For another row. But you know, the brackets are 3-tier brackets, man. That's as high as it goes. If I'm going to do something else, I'm going to have to be clever. Probably too clever. I mean, I could just stack them on top of each other. I have the space here to do that. No, I need to get something properly built. I need to visit Mr. Lamond or something, don't I? Get something proper. Because the irony is, of course, that I've spent time thinking about it, and this great idea of having these mode cases, and then because it's expandable and I can add another row and I can add another row, and that has definitely worked. But it's a lot of money every time, because you look at a properly made proper hardwood Durac case, you think, God damn it, that's a lot of money. But I've probably spent that. I've probably spent that in these cases and the power supplies and all that solution. What is up with my tallness of my hair today? So I don't know. Probably what I need to do is fill this space with a proper thing. But I mean, there's another things though, because this has been immensely portable. I can take it out and I can gig with it. Can't do that if I've got a whole load of hardwired stuff in. So many ways of looking at it. And I feel shortchanged by the Behringer cases. I do, because it's not as deep, and you can see it's not as deep. In which case maybe I should have the Moog case down at the bottom, but then you've got Behringer written at the top rather than Moog. See, I'm such a snob, ultimately. You recommend turning off autofocus? Yeah, but then I'll be in and out of focus all the time, so I don't know. That can work. It sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. I mean, I've done entire videos where I've got to the post-production and gone, oh bugger, I didn't turn the autofocus back on, and now the whole thing is in focus on something else because I did something and then I moved back and then I was out of focus for the rest of the flipping thing. So I don't know, autofocus, I don't know what to say about that other than it's easier in my life to have it on. If that affects you because you're watching it on a 52-inch widescreen, then I'm really sorry. Make my own case, yeah. No, it's not a Logitech webcam. It's a flippin' Canon EOS 70D flippin' SLR camera, mate. Logitech webcam. Cool. I don't know. I don't know that it looks bitty. It'll look better once it's full. I think it'll look ace, actually. It's just trying to find it in the space. Maybe they need to be angled at each other, so I may create a V shape or something. I don't know. Gonna have to give it some thought. It's got to work. Yeah, I still have a load of skiffs left over for demos and stuff. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I've got a plan for a nice little red suitcase that plans. I have lots of plans, lots and lots of plans. Just no time in which to realise all of these great plans. I mean, it would make a rather nice half circle if I sat this up on here, because then it would go like that. And I'd have stuff that's upside down. Would that be awesome, or would that be really, really silly? Oh, I'm gonna have to try it now. Gonna have to try it. Not right now, but I'll have to try it. That could be funny. I have to make some way of it not all falling down. Yeah, right, okay. So, I don't think losing a row would help. As I quite, yeah, although that would that would make better symmetry somehow. I quite like the fact that I'd have two which would be flat before it curves up. That will make more sense. Is that going to make my arms ache? Oh, I don't know. Oh, I was looking for a quick fix. I was hoping just to fit it all in this evening. Anyway. Overhang cases are very bad. See, 5 tiers not going to do it either. I need the 6 tiers. That's the whole point. I need enough to make this happen. Yeah, so, well, I'm going to have to work it out. I mean, I quite like it as it is. I mean, it's a 208 HP, 3 tier now, you could say. I mean, if I was really clever, I would do something here or take the sides off and just connect the whole thing up. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah, it could be good. Could be good. Just I need to fiddle around in there a little bit more and sort that out. I mean, I've got no problem with patching this length. That's not a problem, I don't think. Might need to get some longer patch cables. Otherwise, the solution is to build up. Just build straight up here. Or perhaps, I mean, if I was going to build it from scratch, then I wouldn't rake it quite so quick. I'd rake it slower and then go up. Interesting. Then the other thing is that should I put power over here so it's next to this power, so I've got all these power switches together, or is it better to have it over there because that's where I've always put it and where it seems most natural? God, I really don't know. Where is my keyboard controller via CV? Did I ever have one of those? I can't remember. I've been through so much stuff these days. Yeah, I have been looking at placing a row down here on a very, you know, on a quite a flat skiff. That's a possibility. That's definitely a possibility. But I just liked the form factor. I was trying to work within it, trying to make it work for me. It may do yet. Maybe what I need to do is move everything that way. That's another possibility. And do my filming more at this end. Just that I like the backdrop of that. Or if I move it all down that end, I could do my filming completely flipped. So I'm sitting that way and the camera's coming in this side. But would that just blow everybody's mind because the whole thing would be backwards? Oh, could I do that? I could just put a shelf in, stand one on top of the other, and then I'd have this here, and then I'd have a similar thing there. Would that be terrible? Yeah. That would be terrible. I could do something a bit more of a, ooh, careful now, a bit more of a right angle. What's this doing? It's not doing anything. I'm going to break something. Ah, don't drop off. Oh no! Everything goes pear-shaped all at once. Can I be bothered to change the light? I suppose I can. Yeah, would that work? Sort of. Well, who knows? I'm going to have to play with it. I mean, no point sitting here all night trying to talk about it. That's just not going to help. So, does anybody out there have any last-minute NAMM tips? Is there a product that we've missed, that nobody's seen, that everyone's got a secret skinny on, that I could write up before I go to bed? If anyone's got one of those, stick it in the comments. Just get rid of the desk. Yeah. I'm going to have to get something properly made, aren't I, at some point? If my desk was deeper. I mean, this is all wardrobe. This is all an old IKEA wardrobe that I cut up to make this workbench, but about 13 years ago. I mean, I could make a deeper bench. That's a possibility. Would that change my life? I don't know. Oh, see, this is the same in the house, right? We're trying to put these pictures on our wall. We had this extension built a year ago, and we've got this lovely, completely blank wall. And we're trying to put pictures up, and just, you know, trying to make that work, make that fit is so difficult to visualize. Right, okay. Sorry, I keep getting distracted and think about it. I'm going to have to go sleep on it. No, I haven't seen anything sampling wise. No samplers at all. No, I haven't seen any of that. Matrix poly. Somebody else said that. Was that you? Said a matrix poly? I haven't heard that. I'm assuming you're meaning that is an Arturia matrix poly. I don't know. An Ashun sampler. But you're saying it's a guess. Ashun being the people who did the Hydrosynth. I don't know, maybe. Less cramped, yeah. Yeah, but you got to deal with what you're dealing with, you know. Build a bigger shed, yeah. The theory board, cool. Theory board, that was on Kickstarter like 2 years ago. A massive thing of lights with a terrible name, theory board, because it's kind of about music theory or something, because it's all press buttons to get minor and major different quality chords and that kind of thing. Yeah, I suppose, but they need to call it something more exciting. They're never going to sell it to musicians. I mean, to crazy musicians. I mean, to proper musicians who know what they're doing. Theory board, oh yeah, that sounds very interesting. But to the rest of us, it's like, what? That sounds like school. Why would I want to go to school? So yeah, maybe that's working now. Who knows? It seems to have been forever on its way. Vertical stand wall. Right, sorry. Right, let's go. Let's call this a night. So I'm going to spend 3 minutes playing on what's left of my modular, and that'll be it. Thanks ever so much for hanging out and stuff. I did a little bit of tidying, did have some beer. We talked about NAMM. That was cool. The plan is to have another live stream Sunday night, I think, to talk about NAMM expressly and specifically. Let's see whether we can pull that off. We'll see. Just keep an eye out and I'll see if we can do that. Then obviously it's starting to get towards the end of the month, so I'll probably follow that up with a NAMM focused Molten monthly, either the week following or the week after, if I can manage it. And then no doubt we'll have a live stream after that. Crazy time. And for people who are interested in my output and my content, once NAMM is done, I can then start digging into the videos I need to get done, like the Audio PC Windows one, doing performance testing on the Surface Pro 7, and then a shed load of Eurorack, tons and tons of Eurorack, some DIY, some Deckard's Dream, and I can get back on track with all the videos. It's just been too crazy. But now I can see the space opening up again, so that's really good. But got to get through NAMM first. So thanks everyone for stopping by. I'm going to play with this thing over here, which you now can't see. Can you see? If I do a bit of that, can you see that? That's nice. Does it matter if you can see it or not? I don't know. If I change this light like that. Is that a bit better? So thank you. Yes, good night. Good night. Everyone sleep tight. What on earth is all that? Night night everyone.